One of the most surefire ways that I know of to improve your defense is to watch other high-level fighters execute perfect defense and take notes from them. The man who recently defeated Canelo just fought this last weekend and executed so many wonderful elements of defense that I had to make an episode on it and break down exactly what he's doing and how you can start adding this in to elevate your defensive game. So Bivol, if you're not aware of it, recently defeated Canelo. Now that is an outstanding accomplishment. But when I watched his fight last night versus Ramirez, I believe, and this was a very exciting fight, one that was very anticipated because Ramirez was also undefeated like Bivol. When we look at this fight, the main thing that stands out to me was the defensive abilities of Bivol and how he was able to not take any massive shots, well maybe not any, but for the most part limit them while still executing strong offense. And the first thing that I want to point out, which he does so well, is when he is just outside punching range, he keeps his head in motion. And I've talked many times on the channel about a massive part of success and head movement working together is not to sit there and wait till somebody throws and go, oh, okay, now I'm gonna move. Or if they throw jab, cross, hook, evade, evade, roll. No, it's just staying in motion, making it very difficult for somebody to find a stationary target, which is much easier to hit. If you are looking to improve your defense, to become a more evasive fighter, simply stopping doing this and just getting into motion. This is gonna make a massive difference. And I actually have a tip from my recent trip down to South Carolina where I collabed with professional boxer who has a YouTube channel called Sacred Boxing. You can check that video out here, and he talks about the same thing, keeping the head in motion once you throw shots, just getting a little bit of movement, and then if you need to, you can go further, because as this boxer explains, it's easier to finish a motion than to start a motion. So if you're already in motion and then you just go a little further, that is much easier than being stationary and trying to start the motion. So like we saw Bivol do, just get some head movement. Get that body moving, bend those knees a little bit, and just make yourself a little bit more difficult to tag. The next thing, which was done very, very well from Bivol, is just staying outside punching range, making sure that he's not settling way back here where somebody's gonna lunge at him, but also not staying within that punch zone where he can get hit. Just staying back here, and like we talked about, just keeping things moving, and if the guy throws and is just trying to feel out where Bivol is, he's at the end of the punches. There's no contact. It is much easier for me to tag somebody, even if it's light, even if it's at a full extension, and then find my target with the next shot. But if I'm missing, especially if I'm on the offensive, it becomes very difficult to find that target. So if you're trying to improve your defense, try to learn about distance control and staying just outside that punch range. We're talking an inch outside punch range. The next thing which Bivol does very well, which we also saw him do against Canelo, and we've probably seen him do in all his other fights, is he steps outside of punch range after he's offensive. We do not see him step, and then guard up. He steps and he moves out. He steps and he moves out. Bang out. Bang out, always taking that immediate step back to a safe distance after his offense. This makes him very difficult to counter. And this is something that a lot of people forget about when they do bag work or pad work, because it's very easy to settle. I step in, boom, 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 and then I'm just like, oh, okay, I think I'll move out, as opposed to boom, 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 and out right away. If you can start making that a muscle memory thing, your defense is gonna feel like it skyrockets. And the final point which I wanna make today, which is actually the one I am most excited about, but might seem very simple, is Bivol's ability to keep his hands up tight, but back up. Very often when we see fighters, boxers, MMA fighters, kickboxers, when we see them under attack, they settle behind their gloves and they plant their feet. This is something that I'm guilty of as well. But we saw Bivol, as soon as the guy attacked, Ramirez attacked, he would keep his hands here and he would just simply move backwards until the attack stopped, or he would then cut an angle and make it more difficult to continue to follow up. But if you are backing up with your hands down, and you make a little mistake, you might get clipped. If you can just from here go, I'm backing up, and keep those hands really snug, it is gonna be stellar defense, and we saw Bivol execute this in the 11th and 12th round so well. It looked like Ramirez could not touch him, could not find the target, and it sort of had that ability after executing this, that Ramirez would kind of settle in front of him, and then Bivol could go on the attack. Ramirez would stand stationary, he would score, he would back up, like we already talked about, finish the combo, back up, keep those hands high, and then as soon as Ramirez came towards him, he would again move backwards, staying out of range, but making sure there are no openings because his hands were just locked tight to the head, and the elbows were protecting his body. So hard to land on somebody if they have a tight guard and they are backing up, unless you want to get over aggressive and try and run them down. But in that instance, you make yourself very susceptible to a big counter shot. So it's that balance of recognizing, do I go too hard or do I let this guy just back away with his hands up and look for another opportunity? Anyway, guys, that is all I wanted to talk about with you today. Hopefully this episode helps you elevate your defensive game. It's something that I talk on the channel is not trained enough by many people, and is super important because when we think of a fight, 50% offense, approximately, 50% defense. Obviously, we don't want to forget about the defense when it is half the fight. If you enjoyed the episode, please give it a like. If you have not already, join the channel, get subscribed. As always, guys, train hard. I will see you back here soon for another video.